When you are a small or startup nonprofit, the biggest hurdle you face isn't a lack of passion, it's a lack of traction. You need money to fund your programs, but even raising money can cost money. Now, I've been in this space for a long time, and I've seen a lot of small and startup nonprofits get completely paralyzed by this catch-22. But the truth is, the most effective way to start gaining traction when you have very little money is to start small and lower the barrier to entry for your supporters. If your organization doesn't have a marketing team to launch a massive campaign or thousands of dollars to throw a huge fundraising gala, perfect. This is the video for you. In this video, I'm going to talk through 7 micro-fundraiser ideas that all cost less than $100 to get started, but have the potential to raise thousands. These are the perfect way to get the ball rolling and start building that momentum for bigger fundraising later. And if you find these helpful, I also put together a free download with 30 micro-fundraiser ideas to get your wheels turning even more. Just comment the word ideas below this video and I will send you the link to download the full list. All right, let's jump right in. Now, let's start with one of the most accessible options, the restaurant partnership. The reason a lot of new and small nonprofits struggle with events is the upfront cost, right? You have to rent a venue, buy food, and hope that enough people show up to cover all those expenses. A restaurant night flips that entirely. You can partner with a local restaurant, think Chipotle, Panera, or a beloved local spot, and they agree to donate a percentage of sales, usually 15 to 30% from your supporters on a specific night. And all of that is with zero upfront costs, other than, of course, your time organizing it. Now, you might be thinking, doing that alone won't bring in thousands. If you bring in 50 supporters and the average meal's $15 to $20, you're probably generating just a couple of $100s from that alone. But the idea here is to build in additional ways to raise money while you're at the restaurant with all of those people. See if the restaurant or other businesses will donate a raffle or auction items. Then let the restaurant participants buy raffle tickets or bid on those items. And you can also just put out jars for donations too. Now we're turning a few $100s into something with the potential for a few thousand. But here's a tip. A lot of organizations go wrong here by treating this idea passively. They just post a flyer on Instagram and hope that people show up. If you want this to generate solid revenue, you need to treat it like a community event. Have your board members there, set up a small table with information about your programs, make it a gathering, not just a transaction. Let's talk about our second idea, the community yard sale or upcycle event. This one is a classic for a reason, but we're going to modernize it. Instead of just having your staff bring in old clothes, and you're going to turn it into a community-wide upcycling event. And I love this one because it's super relevant right now. According to a recent Capital One shopping research report, 83% of Gen Z consumers have either purchased or are interested in purchasing secondhand apparel, and 64% search for an item secondhand before buying it new. So thrifting isn't just a budget choice anymore, it's a massive cultural trend, and it's only expected to get bigger, with some projections showing the thrifting market growing to $74 billion by 2029. So ask your friends and supporters to donate high quality items they no longer need. It could be furniture, books, professional clothing. You secure a free location like a church parking lot or a community center or a friend's house, and you host a massive weekend sale. Not only does this raise unrestricted funds, but it serves a dual purpose. It provides affordable, sustainable goods to your local community, and it acts as an awareness campaign because every person who stops to browse is someone you can hand a flyer to about your actual programs. Now, this third one might be my favorite. It's a virtual Skillshare. A lot of people assume virtual events died with the pandemic when it ended. But for this idea, we're not going to think of it as just a typical virtual event. We're going to think of it as an e-learning opportunity. People still love the convenience of learning online, and the e-learning market is actually projected to grow by over 14% annually through 2027. So instead of trying to host a massive virtual gala, host a highly specific, low-stakes Skillshare where a skilled or talented person, maybe even you, teaches attendees something fun and valuable. Do you have a board member who's an amazing chef? A volunteer who's a local musician? You're going to host a 60-minute Zoom session where they can teach a recipe or perform an acoustic set and charge a $20 suggested donation for the link. If you've got multiple talented folks, you can host a series of these skill shares to boost fundraising even more. And this works because you're offering immediate value, entertainment or education or both, in exchange for a micro donation. And because it's virtual, your overhead is literally just your Zoom subscription or whatever your platform of choice is. Now, fourth is the text to give flash campaign. There is a huge misconception that text to give technology is only for massive organizations like the Red Cross during natural disasters. Now, that used to be true. But today, fundraising platforms like Click and Pledge have really affordable text-to-give tools for small nonprofits. But the key word here is flash. It's about urgency and specificity. You don't just text people a generic message saying, hey, please support our cause. You want to text them by saying something more specific related to an urgent need. We have an unexpected freeze tonight and we need to buy 50 heavy blankets for the shelter by 5 p.m. Text blanket to 555-5555 to donate $10 right now. When the ask is like this, when it's small, specific, and urgent, the conversion rates on text to give can be exponentially higher than even email. And by the way, text to give is just one of the many features you'll find on Click and Pledge, one of the most comprehensive and affordable fundraising platforms out there, and the sponsor of this video. Click and Pledge makes it easy for nonprofits to start strong in their fundraising and scale with confidence, and empower their boards and volunteers to help raise money for your cause too. With Click and Pledge, you're going to get professional grade tools for super affordable startup level costs from day one. They've got customizable donation forms that you can plug right into your website and a number of other tools included in their affordable flat monthly costs that you can use as your nonprofit is growing. They've got things like in-person and peer-to-peer fundraising features. They've got video fundraising with embedded donation links. Like I said, text to give tools, donor management tools, Salesforce and other integrations, all included with no contracts or surprise add-on fees. Now, unlike some platforms that increase your fees as you grow, Click and Pledge pricing stays the same whether you have 10 donors or 10,000 donors. So use the QR code and link that I'm going to leave in the description if you want to check them out. You can book a demo and talk to their team and get your first $25 monthly fee waived. Now, this fifth one is another classic and honestly one of the simplest ideas on the list because all you need is some powerful and clear messaging and a way to collect donations. It's the sponsor a need drive. One of the hardest things about fundraising when you're just getting started is that, though very important, general operating support feels abstract to people. Donors want to know exactly what their money is doing, and when you're a newer organization, you're still building trust with people. So breaking your operating costs down into micro sponsorships and explaining the story behind each item and how it helps can really be effective. Instead of asking for $500, you might ask for $25 to sponsor a student's backpack. Ask for $40 to cover the gas for your delivery van for a week. Ask for $15 to sponsor a hot meal for a senior. This is that sort of zero to hero transformation in action. You're showing the donor exactly how their specific small contribution takes a community member from a point of need to a point of relief. It builds immense trust at this point because it's super transparent and helps you start building relationships so that people will be inspired to give to your general operating costs in larger amounts down the line. Next is the peer-to-peer birthday or special occasion campaign. And I know what you're thinking, Amber, everyone does Facebook birthday fundraisers. They're really played out. But the data actually tells a completely different story. In 2026, 38% of online donors said they have donated to a nonprofit through Facebook. And that's not even including the other social media platforms out there. So if the average peer-to-peer campaign brings in roughly $250, then with just a few people participating, you're already seeing potential in the thousands. The big mistake nonprofits make with these, though, is waiting for supporters to spontaneously decide to donate their birthday. You have to build a champion strategy. Here's what I mean by that. You're going to look at your friends and your volunteer base. You're going to find the 10 people who are most engaged with your work and explicitly ask them, would you be willing to donate or dedicate your birthday or special milestone to us this year? We'll give you the exact photos, the stories, and the text to use in your post and personalize. And this works because a major reason someone might not participate in helping causes fundraise is feeling unsure what to say. So when you remove that friction and make it easy, people are often incredibly willing to leverage their personal networks for your cause. Now, before we get into our 7th idea here, a quick reminder, if you want my full list of micro-fundraiser ideas, all 30 of them, comment ideas below and I'll send you the link. Now, 7th and finally, it's the Skip a Luxury Challenge. This is a brilliant micro-fundraiser because it requires 0 event planning. You challenge your friends and supporters to give up one small luxury for a week or a month. Maybe it's their daily coffee, their streaming subscription, their Friday takeout, and then donate that exact amount that they would have spent to your organization instead. So let's take a look at the math, especially since flavored lattes are coming in around $7 each in some cities right now. If you can get just 40 supporters to give up a $7 latte twice a week for a month and donate that $50 plus to you, that is over $2,200 in unrestricted funding for your nonprofit. It works because it doesn't require the donor to find new money in their budget. It just asks them to redirect money they were already going to spend. What I love about all 7 of these micro fundraisers is their low barrier to entry. They don't require your donors to be wealthy philanthropists. They allow everyday people in your community to feel like they can contribute and be a part of your cause. And for your organization, they provide some revenue to build early traction without the exhaustion of planning a massive, expensive event. And remember, if you want even more ideas just like these, comment the word ideas below to get my list of 30 micro fundraisers that, like these, all cost less than $100 to start. And if you want to go deeper than what I can share on YouTube, my free weekly newsletter is where I share these deeper behind the scenes strategies and case studies that I just can't put in a video. The link to subscribe is in the description, or you can find it at changemakercafe.com. If you found this video helpful, you might also like this one where I break down techniques beyond events for launching your fundraising efforts when you're a new or small organization. I'm Amber Melanie Smith, and I'll see you next time. Bye.